Now, the address bar always tells you the row and then the column. They're always in that order. It's always row, column. And here, this fx, Excel is really like an algebra machine. And this fx is a formula inserter. And there are a million built-in formulas. It's probably not a million, but it's a lot, more than you will ever use. If we say we want all the formulas that are in here, you can scroll through here and you'll see all of the things that Excel has a formula built in that will do for you. And you'll never use all of these formulas. And you can get plugins to do statistical tests too. I mean, you don't have to buy them. You just have to go to the options and turn them on, basically. But so recently used will be simple ones here. Sum, average. A lot of people use the insert function. I just always write them myself because I use the same ones over and over. But you can do whichever. Like if we said we want to sum adds things together, that's pretty simple. If we choose it here, it will walk us through writing the formula. See, it put it up there for us. And the first number, you want to say where it's going to find the first number. Let's say we want to add what's in C1, C2, and C3. And that's all. And say OK. Then we've got our formula. And if you click up here in the formula, it highlights for you where it's referring to. Whoops. Oh, that's a good thing to show you. If you're in a formula, you know, my cursor was in there. If you start clicking when you're in a formula, you're modifying the formula. So let me undo that. And this is the undo up here. Redo and undo. So put your cursor at the end and hit return. And that gets you out of the formula. So I guess I built that formula over here because that's where I was. But that formula is going to add numbers from here. So let's put some in. See, it's adding them together. So just a few more basics that might help you get around in Excel. If you put an equal sign, all formulas begin with equal sign. So if you type equals, Excel thinks that a formula is coming. Down here, if you need the screen to be bigger, this is your zoom in and zoom out. This gives you different ways to look at it, different views. Page break view lets you see, if you printed it, where are the pages going to be. Page layout lets you see what it's going to look like if it gets printed. And you can add a header by double clicking. You can, and the header will just be there when you print it. And see, you put it in once, it'll be on every page. You can add a footer. And it will then be on every page. And then the normal view is really your working view that you want to work in. And see, now that I've gone in and done those things, showing me a dotted line here so I know this is a page break. Now, when you print with Excel, it can be messy if you don't control how things are going to print. So when you're ready to print something, you go to page layout and you select, let's say you had a table. Let me open something. Okay, let's say we had this and we want to print this. And I want it to look halfway decent when I print it. You go to page layout and you can select the area you want to print and say set the print area. So now it knows you only want to print this. You don't want to print a bunch of blank cells along with this. Your margins, maybe you want normal margin. You can control. If you barely have enough room on one page, you might want narrow margins. You can make it landscape or portrait. And if you have something that almost fits on one page, but it really doesn't quite fit on one page, you can force it to fit on one page by saying fit it on one page, and it'll shrink it for you so that it fits on one page. The print titles, now we put the header and footer on a different way, but this is another way that you can put the header and footer on. If you go into here, you can do a custom header or custom footer, and if you want the date, you can just select the little calendar icon is the date, and it will put whatever day it gets printed on. That's sometimes a good thing. That's to control the font. I believe you can page numbers. When you put your cursor over these, it tells you what this will be. You can put the file path name for where it is on your computer. You can print the file name itself at the bottom. The sheet name, you can put a picture in, like if you have a logo or something, you might want to do that. And it's good to control, let's see, the sheet on the sheet tab. Here, we selected the print area by just selecting it and setting the print area up here. We could have said we want the print area to be from A1 to E21. You can just write that in. If you're printing something that has many pages and you've got a header row, you can tell it to put the header row on every page. And you do that, you have to tell it what the header row is. The header row is this, row 1. You might want the columns at the left to repeat if something is a lot of data moving right to left. You can print with or without your grid lines. Draft quality, I don't know what that does nowadays. And then how do you want it to print? If you've got way more than fits on one page, do you want it to go down and then start here, or do you want it to go over and across? And then what are your other options? What size you're going to print on. Header, footer, margins. These are what we controlled from up here, but you can control more things. Or you can fit it in the center of the page if you want. Since what we are going to print doesn't fit on a whole page, we could center it horizontally, vertically, or both. And then print preview, that's what it's going to look like. And I wouldn't print that because it's out of whack, but you can just go back and fix it. Anyway, it's important to control how things print, because a spreadsheet printed where the headers don't repeat, or if one column is on the next page, it makes it really difficult to use and to read.